It is a fireside chat. This fireside chat focuses on the topic powering India's anti-spam strategy. For this, please allow me the pleasure of welcoming on stage our speakers. We have Shri Brajendra Kumar, Advisor, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, and conducting this chat, we have Mr. Huzefa Tavawalla, Partner, Head, Digital Disruption, Cyril Amarchand, Mangaldas. With a round of applause, join me in welcoming our brilliant speakers, taking center stage, talking to you about powering India's anti-spam strategy. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time off and joining us out here on day 2 of India Digital Summit 2026. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you with us. Please take your seats, and I will leave you lead the way for this fireside chat. Thank you.
Hello. First and foremost, again, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I know that we are between lunch, but what we have is truly special here. We have Sir with us, over 30 years of experience in the telecom sector and specifically closely associated with TRAI, right? Just from a context setting perspective, you will all appreciate that while we are a country of nearly 1.4 billion people, the telecom penetration in India is right up there, right? Today, mobile networks and mobile penetration has happened over 3/4 of the country, which means that over a billion people have mobile phones. Within that, the smartphone penetration is, over 50%. Within all of this, there is one common thread which, there is like a buzzword on the negative at times which keeps coming, is spam. What is spam? How do we solve it? How do we tackle it? And that is the sole purpose of this fireside chat with, Sir. He's going to give us a fantastic overview. And at least from my side, I'm trying to get the very best out of Sir. And our overview out here is that we are going to not only try and objectify what is spam, how does it impact, but also how can it be resolved from a user perspective and at a company perspective. And I think on this note, I would like to open it up to Sir, that what is this issue, Sir, about spam? And, if you could just, from a context setting perspective, throw it up there for our audience.
So spam calls, as most of you all, I think, familiar with, and hardly there would be anyone who would not have received any spam call or a spam message. I think there would be no exception in this case. So what we technically, when we say spam call, it's basically what we call unwanted or unsolicited commercial communication, called shorted UCC. So what is not desired, unwanted. So, and that is a commercial communication, because there are communications like transaction communications which you find getting OTP or acknowledgement messages. Those are called transactions. They are not unwanted commercial communication. So a distinction is made between the unwanted commercial communication and normal communication. So all such unwanted commercial communication are termed in the category of spam calls. And this is where TRAI stepped in as a part of mandate and came out with a regulation in 2018. It was called TCCCPR, bit long. So TRAI Commercial Communication Customer Preference Regulation. So it's a big long name, but short it is UCC, or Spam Call Regulation.
No, and I think this background is extremely helpful, Sir. And just for our audience, TRAI, just probably some of you all who don't know, has been one of the foremost authorities in India, who's been one of the most vigilant and proactive regulators governing the overall telecom infrastructure in India. And while Sir is being very humble, saying, 2018 is where the formal regulations come in, but they have actually been tracking this space to kind of govern it, 7-8 years before also. Because the first sort of informal guidance which came was on my birthday, so I will not forget. It was implemented in September 27, 2011. And the journey has been absolutely progressive till then. But coming back, Sir, on the question, how much of a nuisance is it today? Just from general reporting, is blocking the same as actually going and reporting it?
So if you go by the statistics figure, so every day, total number of calls or messages there are around 11,000 crores. 11,000 crores are total calls or messages which go in the network across all operators. And out of that, there are about 13,000 such cases which are reported as a spam calls. So, or you can say in a shorter terms, what I would say, for every 1 crore call, there is a 1 call or message is reported as spam. So that is what is reported. There are many others which people don't report, so we don't know. But many people just block it. Or they don't even block it, they ignore it. Or if not ignore it, they will get frustrated and leave it or whatever it is. So the impact is much more. But we have felt that and we are working on it also.
Great. So you have understood the numbers. Now, totally, we all understand that it is a problem because you constantly get it on your mobile phones. Now, one of the easier ways, and this is actually very interesting, where Sir will hopefully try and differentiate the nuance here. You get an option to block a call. If somebody is calling you, a lot of optionalities within your smart handheld devices that you can block that call. So from a regulation and from an implementation perspective, is there any difference between actually blocking a number or, should you kind of, for our audience, report that number? Is there any nuance there from an operational level?
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good point you have raised. See, whenever you get a spam call and if you block it, it doesn't serve any purpose. The reason is that the telemarketers who are trying to spam you, they have multiple numbers they have. If you block one number, you'll get a call from the another number. It will keep on happening. And not only you, the others will also be spammed. The best thing is to report, because once you report a number as a spam call, there's an activity which takes at the back end. Depending upon the number of complaints received, there's some simple algorithm and simple rules in place. Depending upon the nature of complaints, number of complaints, those numbers are identified. Even one complaint, if you make about a number is a spam, a notice goes to the caller. Your number has been marked as a spam call. So that's how it happens. So there's a process in place now. If once you make a complaint, we take action on it. And actions are in different steps. It can be giving a notice or disconnecting. There's stages which I'll tell you later.
So I think this is very helpful. So we have tackled two problems, from a simple layman perspective. From a regulatory perspective, we've kind of unfolded what a spam is, what a spam call is, where is the pain point, and specifically, how do you differentiate between blocking and reporting? So we have, kind of segmented it from a takeaway perspective. So the next logical question actually, sir, which unfolds is that companies out here still want to do business, right? They still want to reach out for marketing purposes, from a sales perspective. So how is it going to be possible for companies to actually go and promote their products and services in this environment?
Yes, true. So the purpose is not to stop or discourage any legitimate commercial communication. So the legitimate commercial communication will still happen, but there's a system in place for that. So for calls, we have reserved a series that is 140. So any promotion call has to start from a number starting 140. So the company who wants to do any promotional call or promotional messaging system, they have to register with their service provider. If they want to register as a telemarketer, when they register, then they can do promotion call through 140 series. That is for calling. Now for messaging or SMS, there are headers. You must have seen those alphanumeric headers like SBI, CRD, those headers are allocated by the service provider. Once you register with the service provider, they will give you a header. Then you can send message through those headers. But if you send SMS through your personal number, then The system is in place to block it, because when you register with a service provider, you will be asked to give a template of the message which you will send in promotion. And your message will be scrubbed against this template. So that message only can go to a customer. So your message, promotional message, will not be blocked. It will be to go to whosoever is willing to take. And again, here there's one more thing about customer preference. When we say a customer has given a choice, or a customer may not universally block all the promotion calls. Say he may want to he wants to have some loan, or he wants to have some insurance. He may want to have a sector-specific promotion calls or messages. So when he's giving an option, then he can give a preference also there in this do not disturb registry. He can give a particular preference for sector-wise also. He will get a call only from those sectors, not from others.
And this is so well explained by Sir, right? And I see, all of you all have mobile phones with you. So the simplest way to kind of map what Sir is saying is, for example, if you open your telecom service provider app, whether it is an Airtel, Jio, Vodafone, whichever ones of these which you're using, and if you on a real-time basis also open that app of yours, basis your SIM card, who's your service provider, there will be a simple search bar on that app, any of these apps which you open, and you can just type in DND, do not disturb. DND is the acronym, and there you will exactly get these sort of preferences which are already there. So a lot of times the government, through telecom service providers which are regulated by the government, are deploying these measures. The awareness may not be there at a user level. And I'm telling you all to do this exercise basis, Sir, is what just explained, right? It is already there. It is just that awareness which needs to be created, which we will talk as we move forward. But one interesting question which often comes up, Sir, is that, what steps does the government of India, and specifically, TRAI, who's the foremost in regulating this space, take against the bad actors? Now, we all understand that spam still continue. Companies, avail it through telemarketing services and otherwise. So, but still there are bad actors in the ecosystem. So what action typically gets taken against these bad actors?
So TRAI has come up with an app called TRAI DND app. TRAI DND means do not disturb. TRAI DND app is there in both Android and Apple ecosystem. Once you download this app and report any call or message as a spam in that app, it's a very simple app. Don't need to put much, don't need to key in too many things. It will pick up from your logs, the call and SMS. Once you report it through that app, and we find, as I told earlier also, there are many complaints, more than 10 or something, then first is notice is given to the spammer, the sender of the messages. Then if it does not stop, there's a second violation on that. Then there's a usage cap. You cannot make more than 50 calls and messages per day. If there's again violation is there, then the services are disconnected across all operators. They're blacklisted. Difficult to get a telecom service from any service provider in India. So that's the panel provision in a graded manner if the violations keep on happening.
Great. And I think as a de facto also, what I understand what TRAI has done, few years back, you may probably be receiving calls and SMSs in the middle of the night or early in the morning. Now, majority of those have stopped. I don't think anybody would start getting calls after 8, 9 p.m. or early in the morning at 4, 5 p.m. because these are the implementation steps which the government of India through TRAI has taken to minimize these sort of issues. But one question which often also comes up, right, that in today's day and age, sir, technology is evolving so rapidly. What means were adopted before are constantly going to change. So at a government, at an entity level, what steps is TRAI taking, in 2026, 2025, keeping abreast with technology to reduce this nuisance?
So there are many steps taken in this regard. First is There's one 1600 series, not technology exactly. So 1600 series has been started for BFSI sector, banking, finance, and insurance. So now, and by March it will be done across all. If you get a call from 1600, it will be either bank or insurance. So these sectors, they'll have to mandatorily use this 1600 series for transaction and service calls and messages, not for promotion. So what happens when you get a call from this series, the trust is there. Okay, you know that the bank person is calling me. As of now, there's always a fear when somebody calls, I'm calling from State Bank, I'm calling from ICICI or HDFC Bank. You don't know. The bank person is calling or some fraudster is calling or service call. So 1600 series exclusively for this. Let's start with. Now at technology side, as you told, all the operators have now using the AI-enabled platform to detect such senders of spam calls. And as of now, there is a blockchain technology deployed to scrub the messages, they're called DLT platform, to scrub the messages which are going from their system to the customers. So if they are not following the template, they will not go. And the latest one which TRAI has now started, a pilot has been done about digital consent acquisition. So now what is actually is that people were telling that I have not given my consent for a promotional message, but still I am getting call from the bank and the insurance companies. So what was happening, the bank will say we have taken the consent in the form or whether. So not verifiable, or is it verifiable, but not practical to verify. So now with this DCA system, digital consent acquisition system, we have a verifiable system and a revocable also. A customer can give his consent, he can revoke it whenever he wants. Sooner it is going to be implemented across all so that nobody can say, and as the DPDP Act is also there now, so this consent becomes more important there. So this is what is going to evolve in future also.
Absolutely. And I think you will actually also see how structured your messages are getting. If on your phone, if you open any text message now, any text message on your phones which you open, which is of course not from friends and family, basis your phone directory, you will find 3 letters which are added at the end of it, whether it is P, whether it is S, whether it is T. And this is obviously not a PlayStation sort of a thing. It stands for promotion, service, and transaction. So you can yourself immediately identify. And the other thing what TRAI has tried to, from an education perspective, that is the end, PST at the message. In the start also, you will find these alphabets, V, J. So what does that mean? It is come from the telecom service provider, Jio, Vodafone, Airtel. And next to it, there will be another alphabet, T, M. So that is the city or the state from which those messages are coming. So these small things are being built not by the telecom service provider independently. It is of course basis TRAI and the team who's tried to implement all of these nuances. But one question which I'm sure all of you all still have on your mind, that we've spoken a lot about spam, and today this discussion largely focuses on spam through messages and calling through traditional telecom numbers. One thing which is still not part of this discussion is calls through internet and OTT apps such as WhatsApp, Skype, or messages through messaging platforms through the internet. So how is that being looked at, or is it kind of not within the purview of TRAI? If you can just throw some guidance for our audience here.
As you said, there's this voice communication apps like WhatsApp and others using the VoIP platform. As of now, they are not in the purview of TRAI because TRAI regulate the entities which have got the authorization or license from Department of Telecom. So as of now, because these apps are not authorized or getting license from DOT, they are not under the purview of regulation of TRAI. but still we are in communication or we are in conversation with those also, and on their own they have taken measures to not to have them, some proactivity they have taken on their own also based on the guidelines we have. But regulation point of view, yes, we have not regulating those entities as of now.
Correct. So I think this is a very important differentiator which Sir has brought out. The Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, which kind of governs telecom infrastructure, has the authority to govern the internet in that case. But the authority to govern platforms which ride or which provide services over the internet is a separate purview. So this is one important differentiating factor which we wanted to communicate to all of y'all. I think the second point which Sir mentioned is also very critical. He made a reference to DPDA. Now that is the new data law which some of y'all I'm sure are aware of. The law has got enacted in 2025 November. There is a 18-month implementation timeline which expires on May 2027, specifically for companies which are engaging in promotional services and messages through the means which we've just discussed. There will be an additional consent mechanism flow which will need to be factored basis the DPDA law. So that is another leg of compliance somehow which will need to be woven into the overall ecosystem. But we always should end in terms of, would you like to, Sir, give any inputs that what should the user be aware of? Now we've spoken a lot about companies, compliances, but ultimately, is there any sort of awareness or proactiveness which you would like to conclude from a user perspective, Sir?
So I'll again repeat what I said earlier for that point of view. To control the spam calls and messages, we want the support of users. Please do report, not just block the calls and messages. Unless and until you report, it will be very difficult to control and check the problem which you are facing. That's what from my side.
So I think it's a two-way, give and take. While the regulators are here, the regulators are, playing both sides of the coin. One is it's a good cop in terms of the infrastructure is there for companies to go and indulge into promoting and sales and marketing activities. And the other side of the coin, of course, is that it needs to be done in a manner, basis the rules and regulations of the law. And I think on that note, I've been shown the cue in terms of time is up. But I'm sure we can open for some questions if there are any. And, special gratitude, of course, to Mr. Kumar, sir, for taking time and coming. Of course, there's some hands.
Yeah.
So we can take some questions.
Yes, sure.
So allow us one moment. We'll have one of our associates join you with the mic, requesting you to kindly introduce yourself and then proceed with your question.
Okay, my name is Ishtiyaq. I manage sales entry. We help a lot of startups. So you know that everyone is saying startup, let's grow India. So 5,000 startups get started, 50 of them get funded. The rest of them don't. So we try to help them, right? So I had a very basic question from a practicality. So the startups are not funded. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have customers, right? And what I understand, the 1-400 numbers are little expensive to actually go for. So how do they actually outreach? They can't participate in large events as well. So how does that play in? As someone who's trying to help them grow, how does it happen without them having customers? How do they outreach? By being in the purview of DPDP and TRAI.
I can understand what the problem which you are telling. Economically wise, it is not easy for them to take the 140 series from the service providers, because as of now the mechanism which is built there for promotion, that series has been kept, but we can take it as an input. So from in startup, and whenever we are having our consultations or something, we can always provide these inputs also, because as a regulator we always take inputs from stakeholders of different. It's not just a dominant player. So there's always interest is taken care for all. We do take this input and for any future consideration. Thank you.
So if I may add from a different angle. Now, you need to appreciate that there are a lot of companies which are existing, which sell, who have aggregated personal information. I'm sure you're already aware, and a lot of you are already aware. Name, phone number is accessible, and they sell it or license it, as a bouquet of services. Till now, there was no law in India which was regulating the sharing and licensing of personal information, because the data law did not cover or protect that sort of information. So that data was still available, and it is still being exchanged in the market. This issue will actually get amplified, my friend, after May 2027, because we have a new data law. There is a 18-month implementation timeline which is there. And once that timeline expires on May 2027, that data cannot be freely shared with third-party service providers or startups for you to, reach out, unless and until the individual has given consent for that data to be shared. So I think, in general, this space requires more calibration. And of course, as Sir said, from a regulator's perspective is one, from a telecom regulator's perspective, but I will throw in another hat. From a privacy perspective also, it will get pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
just one question.
We'll take one last question. Can I have you pass the mic on to the gentleman out
No,
there?
I already have it.
Hi, thank you for your time, and thank you for making our phones safer. Honestly, my mom will thank you when I tell them about the.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi. So thank you for making our phones safer and our digital life safer. I'm going to pass on that information. I'm Ines Moge, a growth and partnerships manager at Listen First, and I'm concerned about how TRAI and the regulatory bodies track social consent and social information on their issues that they're facing with spam calls and security issues. Because I know that we have a lot of apps coming up and the information to help us, but it's not well known. And does TRAI know what their audience is talking about and their pain points, and what do they do about it? So essentially, do you guys track your consumers' pain points, like people like me, or the population of India, and what they're concerned about when they're talking about spam calls? Do you track those conversations to better your features and to better your information?
Yeah, I think your voice is a little miffed, but I think,
Okay.
sir, what he's saying is that as a regulator, we are tracking, what are the pain points which people are facing from a spam call perspective, and are we kind of keeping up to, what the society's issues are from a infrastructure and law perspective. I think, that's.
But tracking the sense that yes, we do have stakeholder consultations on these topics of spam, where we collect inputs from the people, and through social media also scrubbing we do, what are kind of pain points people are facing. Based on that, we are issuing directions and we are issuing modifications to whatever service providers also. So those changes are happening based on the inputs we get. Just I said what the time is there. The digital consent equation, the process has been started because of that only. Because the people had a complaint, the consent we have not given. Where is my consent? So that's what, based on that only.
And TRAI has also, by the way, introduced a pilot on like a Truecaller equivalent. It's called CNAP.
CNAP, yeah, I missed that part.
So going forward, the intent of TRAI, and of course Sir can add, is that tomorrow the vision is that you will get to know who's calling you. And
You'll get that not only the number, but the name also, which was in the KYC document. It's called CNAP.
We'll take one final question from the
Sir,
gentleman
actually,
out there.
great efforts by TRI in recent 1 year. I think it's very great to see 140160 number and the CNAP that you just talked about. It's excellent. Sir, one of the things that I've observed in the past, even if your number is marked as fully DND, we still get calls. Right? Even now we get calls.
Yeah.
How do we tackle that, and how are companies made liable for those kind of activities where they don't look at DND aspect of somebody's number and still call?
Yeah, that's the problem is bit complex. There are unregistered telemarketers who ignore, they don't take care that the number is registered as do not disturb. So as I told, we are taking action based on the complaints which we are getting.
Okay.
And on the proactive part, even the service providers, they have installed AI engines to check calls going from a number, originating from a number to different numbers, the same. So that also being done. It's a continuous process like a cat and mouse game, which is going on. But
Okay.
yes, the process is still.
But doesn't TRI think that the companies for whom they are working, be it agencies, but working for, say, Bajaj Finance or Make My Trip, shouldn't they be actually be targeted or charged heavily?
Yes, and discussions are going on a bit because they are not regulated by TRAI. So we cannot directly regulate those principal entities. So as of now, we are holding telecom service provider only to take action based on their agreement with the principal entities for this telemarketing.
Okay. Just an example, if I just a week back, I just searched on Make My Trip for a property in an area to buy. I didn't give my number, nothing, right? It's without login. They started calling me like from different numbers. If I block one, they'll call from another, then third, then fourth, then fifth. Still going on.
Yeah.
Even now I was getting that property advisor call, right? So there's no way they will stop unless there's some action is taken.
No, as I told ki, if you report it on DND app, and apart from you, others also need to report. Because a single person reporting does
They'll
not-
get a new number actually. It's as easy as that for them.
No, but action is taken. There have been about, I think, around 25 lakh last year only. Discussions were done.
Okay.
So, but reporting is important because suppose you have faced the problem, but you have reported, others have not reported. So action may not be taken based on one complaint, but at least even 10 number of complaints are required.
And that will change. And sorry, just to close this because we are running out of time. We already run out of time, let me put it that way. Is that today this recourse currently exists with TRAI, but you will have another recourse, as I was explaining my friend, is the data privacy angle. There's a new data protection board which will come. You can definitely, if you're harassed, you can definitely go and tell the service provider that I never consented. I was just searching for a property. Beat it. Where is all of this happening? So that recourse will come, next year once the DPDA is implemented. So government is taking different directions approach to kind of tackle this sort of an issue.
In the interest of time, we will have to close out the question and answer session. I want to take this opportunity and thank the gentlemen present on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Shri Brajendra for taking the time off and joining us out here and sharing with us your thoughts and your inputs. And thank you so much, Mr. Huzefa, for joining us out here and conducting this fireside chat. If I could request the both of you to kindly stand to the forefront of the stage for a quick photo opportunity. Once again, thank you, Mr. Huzefa Tavawalla and Shri Brajendra Kumar. Thank you so much for joining us out here. Certainly a topic that interested most of us present out here. And as Shri Brajendra has pointed out rightfully, it's not just the policies that comes from the government, but a hand-in-hand support that goes from all of us out here. So we no longer will just block those spam calls, but we will ensure that we report it as well to the best of our abilities. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us out here and sharing with us your thoughts and inputs. Thank you so much.